the second channel is side project marketing. And now a lot of people might have heard of it as a buzzword, and a lot of you might not have heard of it. That's fine. So we're just going to go into the details. But the hashtag would tell you a lot. So it's think outside the block. Now, a lot of businesses, small businesses, companies have invested amazing amounts of money in their blogs, and I'm sure they're getting results as well. But there is a way to, to get the same results faster and to improve the conversion rates, which is precisely what side project marketing is. Now, this is what, I just stole this slide from HubSpot's inbound marketing course, and it talks beautifully about user personas and buyer's journey and remarkable content and leverage your content. But the sad part is that, blogging and SEO takes ages. Now, if you've been doing it consistently, religiously for years with content calendars and optimizations and tech teams and a lot of budgets, you're probably going to get results from your blogging and SEO strategy. But if you're doing ads, again, on the other hand, they annoy people and cost a lot of money. So we're in this situation where we have two kinds of things that we can do. We can do a long-term. Typically, when you go to even when you think about digital marketing as a whole, you can typically divide it into organic and paid. So you typically think, okay, let me go back and create high-quality content over time. Let me create 2,000-word blogs, cornerstone posts. Let me optimize it for SEO. Let me get backlinks. Let me do outreach. Let me get online PR and all of that stuff, which is a time-consuming, long process with astonishingly low results. So if you look at statistics, you can see what kind of results people are getting. I'm amazed that not a lot of people are investing too much in blogs and SEO. I mean, even if they are, I don't think they answered it in the first question. But if you do, you'll realize how long it takes. And on the other hand, the other approach could be that you put a lot of money in ads, which really annoy people, to be honest, and they cost a lot of money, right? So ultimately, you end up with a situation like this, where either you have no visitors or you have a lot of visitors, but you're not able to see conversions to leads from your blogs, right, from the content that you're creating. Now, this is a quote by Michael, who's the founder of Crew, and I'll tell you what Crew does in a while. But the reason why this quote is interesting is because it tells you how they literally saved their business from shutting down just using side projects. And as of today, Crew gets around 40% of their revenue from side projects. Now, this is how it reads. So we had no money, we changed our business model. Now, typically, you can see the tone of the quote here, that they're almost at the verge of shutting down. Now, we needed to find customers, but no one knew who we were. So it's again a marketing concern. So we need to sort of attract and acquire users was their challenge. And they didn't have a marketing budget. So we were, marketing budget, please, we were just trying to keep the lights on. Now, I know that this is a burst situation where it worked, but it could, if you introduce it in your business, you can improve your results, right? So that's what we are aiming for. We're not really looking for saving our business, but let's look at it from a perspective of improving your results. So let's go through this case study quickly. Now, Crew is a company like freelancer.com where you can go, or Guru or Elance or whatever, where you can go and find these freelancers who can do design work, who can do web work, and all of this work for you, right? And this is the side project that they created. It's called Unsplash. It gives you free high-resolution images. If you're probably a freelancer, you would have used this at some point. So it's like a free Shutterstock. You can get free photos. You can also subscribe to the newsletter and get free photos in your inbox. And they realized that a lot of people who are looking for freelancers to do all of this stuff, which is apps, websites, logos, might also be interested, right? So think about it like this, might also be interested in getting free photos. So how I want you to think about this is that they're solving a problem which is closely tied up with their target audience, right? So now they're using side project as a channel for acquiring users. So their marketing channel is not Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, but a side project called Unsplash, which they created themselves, right? Because they realized that it's easier to sell Unsplash, it's easier to get email IDs from Unsplash than to sell Crew. Makes sense? So instead of going on their traditional digital channels, they are going for their own channel, which is a side project channel of marketing, right? And the results are amazing. So Unsplash generates around 11 million unique visitors per month, right? And the revenue that they get from side projects. So when they saw that Unsplash is doing well, they created 3 other side projects, and then they created 2 other side projects, and they get 40% of their revenue from side projects, right? Now these are all the side projects which Crew created. So they created Unsplash. Now, as a marketer, as with your mindset, I want you to think of this. So they created Unsplash because they knew that people might need free photos who are also their target audience. Freelancers or small businesses might also need coffee shops with Wi-Fi. So they also created Coffee and Powder, which is a collection of coffee shops with that unicorn combination of coffee, good Wi-Fi, and floods. Right? This is also something that you would need. You would also might want to figure out if an app or a website is better for your project. Right? So these are the kinds of side projects. You might also want to calculate how much an app will cost. So when people would use these tools, they would typically have to enter their email address in order to get the cost. So for instance, we tried this ourselves. We were getting a lot of clients for app development who were not sure if they needed a HTML5 app or a native app or a hybrid app. And we decided that we're going to write a blog about this. We're going to write a blog about difference between HTML5, native, and hybrid apps, right? And then we realized that doesn't make sense, you know. Rather than writing a blog about this, let's create a simple type form, which is just a form builder where we could ask people their business objectives and then send them customized results about whether they should go for an HTML app or a native app or a hybrid app. So the conversion rates from the same blog, which is now presented to you like a form, increased to 100% because you had to fill in your email address for us to send you the report of which app you should take. And it's more customized. People want to give their email address because they want to know what kind of app they should use rather than having to do their own research from a blog. And it takes exactly the same amount of time that it would take for me to write the blog, right? So if I'm writing, let's assume, 1,000-word blog, or I'm paying a freelancer for it on a per word basis, it makes more sense for me to just go and create this form because my conversion rates now are 100% because it's a gated version of the blog. And you don't feel bad about giving it. You're giving you the access to your email address because you're getting a customized solution in this case, right? So think outside the blog, right? So instead of the same blog, now that I've created a side project, my conversion rates from the blog are 100%. If you would write the blog in a blog format and you have, even if you have amazing lead buttons and call to actions, all that, you would be able to improve your conversion rates, but not to 100%, right? So think outside the blog. The result here was that they generated 40% of Crew's revenue using the side projects, and they could get 100,000 email subscribers, which is great. You will never get 100,000 email subscribers if you're selling Crew, but you can get 100,000 email subscribers if you're selling Unsplash, or how much does this app cost, and so on. Now, this is not the only company which does this. So Buffer has a side project called Pablo, which is something like Canva, where you can go and design images. So Buffer figured out that one of the problem statements or one of the problems with my clients would also be to create good images for social media, and they decided to make Pablo. So once you sign up for Pablo, which is a side project, you have to then sort of put in your email ID to create these images, and they can then soft sell you Buffer, which is their actual product, right? Now, interestingly, if you see here, Buffer uses Pablo as their marketing channel. Similarly, Social Media 101 is a free course that Buffer has created for you to learn social media marketing. Again, HubSpot has done something similar. So Website Grader, Agency Grader. Website Grader was one of the main factors of increasing HubSpot's revenue by millions of dollars in 2011, from 2011. And these are the side projects that you know are the new marketing channels for these companies. So while you have your own set of channels that you work on, and your traditional channels, you should also think of creating a side project, especially if you're going to create a blog. You can convert it into a side project. Now, this is my success formula that I use typically with the kinds of side projects that I create. So I make a side project and I use Typeform to build it sort of in a form. When I say side project, I typically don't go and make an app or start coding in PHP or Java and so on. I just make a Typeform and I launch it on Product Hunt, because I don't want to waste my time marketing this side project because I want to focus on marketing my main product. So when I launch it on Product Hunt, I also make sure that I'm targeting Twitter influencers who can launch it for me, because I'm going to hack into their networks. Because whenever an influencer launches your product, their followers also get a message that with a link to your product. And then I put all these people who sign up for the side project into an email drip campaign. When I put all these people into an email drip campaign, they start getting my emails, and then I start soft selling. So let's say email 1 is free value, which is, let's say, for example, I tell them which app you should make. Email 2 is again free value. Maybe I give them a free ebook. Email 3 is a soft sell where I say, hey, this is my product, you can try a free demo, or these are the services that we provide, or these are the courses that we give you on digital marketing. Email 5 is again free value. Email 6 is a follow-up. And email 7 is the last follow-up. So that's the kind of drip campaign I put these people into. So you create a side project instead of a blog. It takes the same amount of time. It gets you 100% more ROI than you would get from a blog because your conversion rate is now up to 100% because everyone has to fill in their lead. And you then get a lot of email IDs which you can soft sell to your main product. So this offbeat channel is basically creating your own side project and then getting results from that.